Hey, everybody. I'm Leanne Shinton from Automation Dogs, formerly known as Pet Biz Experts. We're doing the rebrand thing, which is a lot of work. And today we're interviewing Andrew Fraser from Doggy Zone. Hi, Andrew.
Hey there, how's it going?
I'm great. How are you?
I am well rested today. Just
That's
coming back
good.
from vacation this week, so feeling alive and vibrant.
Where were you?
I was in Bermuda, so I've
Oh,
got some
cool.
family there, and so I haven't been there in about 7 years. So I got to go back and enjoy some time with my family and
Your
enjoy the beautiful island.
family lives in Bermuda?
My mom's side, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Sometimes I don't believe it, and I always say to her, "Why didn't you get me dual citizenship?" You know.
Yeah. Wow. That is cool. How long's the flight to Bermuda from where you're at in Maryland, right?
It's yeah, 2 hours. So it's a really short flight actually, and
Yeah.
it's surprising that I don't go more frequently. But when you have little kids running around, it's not always easy to pack up the whole house and go. But now that I've kind of broken my dry spell from visiting, I'm sure we'll be going back on a more regular basis.
That is super fun and good for you. It's hard for us entrepreneurs to find time to get away and to step away from our business because a lot of us are working in our business versus on our business. And that is stuff that I want to talk to you about because just to kind of let people know, I've known you since you were like a little baby. You were 18, I think. I met you. You
Yeah.
came to Vegas, and I I'm just blown away with what you've accomplished. You've been able to work with the amazing George Cockrell too, which so lucky, so blessed to be able to have that opportunity. And when I think about the size of your business, it's just, I don't know anybody else who's doing that. So I want to dive into that. And I want to dive into like how you manage and motivate your team today. Cause I think that that's something that I'm hearing from a lot of people, inspecting their work, things like that, and how you've built this, Godzilla of a business, so we can help other people kind of think about some big goals that you've accomplished at such a young age.
Well, thank you. I'm looking forward to going deep on it with you here.
Yeah. So I guess one question just to kind of get started is tell us about Doggy Zone and what you guys offer.
Yeah, so Doggy Zone is kind of a unicorn business. I like to say there's very few, if any, businesses out there like what we've built. We are a full service dog training resort. So we started off as a dog training company with that being all that we did. And now we offer boarding, daycare, grooming, retail, pretty significant retail store and transportation. So, and of course, we still do lots of training. So we really, provide everything that the traditional pet owner needs, minus veterinary care at our facility.
And how big is your team?
Right now, we have about 75 people. There have been points in time where we've been upwards close to 100 people, but right now we sit right about 75.
How many dogs do you guys generally see in about a day?
Typically, we see, if I think back to our kind of our peak years, in the thick of COVID, we were seeing, 2 to 300 dogs per day. We're probably right now closer to the 150 to 250 a day across all of our services. So we might see 100 plus dogs for daycare, and then we might have another 30, 40, 50 for boarding. And then you think about the training classes and the grooming clients and the retail visits. We have quite a few dogs coming through the doors here. So it puts us in a
Awesome.
unique position to learn a lot. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, like a one-stop shop minus the veterinary, but a one-stop shop. And do you find that folks come in because they need dog food and then they end up doing grooming and other services?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I would say that a majority of people coming in the doors are, coming in looking for training or boarding or daycare, and then explore the other services. But our retail store has grown so much that it has actually had a significant input on the amount of clients that we're getting in other services as well.
Dog food's good because they have to come back every month or so to get more food.
Yeah, we definitely know that the dog food game is a challenging game. It's not easy to compete with Chewy and Amazon
Mm.
and some of these big box stores on price, but we found other ways to compete with them that work for us, and we don't look at it as we need to make the bulk of our revenue from food, which is more what your PetSmarts and Petcos and your big box stores are doing. We get to have a little bit more unique approach where we really focus on our services being high quality, and then we have some residual income from people buying food and that type of thing. But it does give us a nice, well-rounded portfolio of things to provide to our clients and to be able to continue to serve them above and beyond just a training program or package that they do with us.
And you started in dog training, right?
I did.
So what did that journey look like? Just the dog training part before you got into all of the other services.
Well, I guess the best place for me to maybe start with this is to maybe share what I was doing prior to dog training. When I was in high school, just school in general, elementary, middle, high school, I struggled a lot. I was kicked out of quite a few schools. So I went through 5 schools in 5 years. I finally landed at a high school, and I did about average. I was not a scholar. I was not college bound. I was actually on the brink of dropping out. But I had gotten a dog that led me um, into dog training, really. This dog ran away and caused all sorts of problems for me and my parents. And so I ended up getting an invisible fence because, I needed some way to keep him safe. And I know that there's a lot of different feelings about invisible fences, but at the time, it was really the only thing that we could do. And that allowed me to meet George Cockrell and Al Marks, who both are very local here. And they both introduced me to National Canine. And I was in high school at the time. I was doing some stuff in the summer, shadowing them. And when I found out that I could go away to dog training school, come back, start a dog training business, and be like in complete control of my destiny, I mean, that just sounded amazing. So I graduated a year early with a 2.0. Like, I was not graduating early with a 4.0 and all these extra credits. Like, I did the bare minimum to get by. But it allowed me to move on to going to National Canine. And after National Canine, I taught classes for PetSmart,
Mm.
which I look back at and shake my head a little bit, but it really did teach me a ton because I put my hands on hundreds and hundreds of dogs there. We did a ton of classes, and I worked directly with George and Al there teaching classes. I worked for Invisible Fence still, and I also worked for a veterinary clinic. So I ultimately didn't really have a business per se. I had 3 jobs, but I was gradually getting individual clients from those businesses. Not in a shady way. They were totally aware of what I was doing and
Right.
handing out my card and that type of thing. But it allowed me an opportunity to get exposure when I didn't have money to spend on advertising. I was 17 going on 18 at the time. So it was a great way for me to actually start gaining some clients. But yeah, that's basically how I landed in the seat as a dog trainer, and there's all sorts of other stuff that came afterwards.
Well, I think it's very interesting. I High school was not for me either. I had my own business by the time I was 17, and I was going to National Canine by the time I was 17. You had 3 jobs. So it's weird that you like, school is a pain in my butt, but then you come out and you have 3 jobs. That's above and beyond like many, 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 many people. So I'm assuming you weren't doing it for the money.
No, I'm super ADHD. Okay, so I need to be constantly stimulated. Like if I'm not actively doing something, it's difficult for me. Like I have a hard time sitting still, not
Mm,
doing anything. And these were really stimulating for me. I was able to have a lot of interaction with people. I was able to make a difference in people's lives, and that, was something that I was passionate about. And something, about ADHD people is that they tend to struggle being motivated to do things that are important, but are very easily motivated by doing things that they're interested in, that they're passionate about. And so this was really, something. I love my dog, and I love helping to shift other people's dogs from pain in the neck to, a well-behaved citizen, if you will.
yeah, that makes sense with the ADHD and the school not being the right fit. And then, yeah, being interested in dogs. I went to National Canine as well. And yeah, that was a great starting point for a lot of us trainers. I got to work with Scott Mueller directly, and yeah, great
The OG.
experience. Yeah, yeah. Quite a school, like really well done, where you could live on campus and everything, and you could walk out of there, and you felt so much confidence in being a trainer. But I think some came out and thought, I'm amazing," and others, like, you know, us, was like, oh, let's learn from Big George, let's learn from other people, and continue to learn. So yeah, I think too, one of the things I'm hearing from you is that you've said a few times already that you wanted to help people. And that's probably led to you being so successful, is you have that mindset of wanting to help.
Yeah, ever since I was young, I wanted to help the neighbors with their dogs, and I think that if you have that mindset of serving, um, sales are very, very simple, very, very easy,
Mm,
and comes very naturally because you don't have to push people, you don't have to pressure them, and you can just serve and just do a really good job and be passionate about what you're doing, and the money will follow.
yep. Well said. What do you think are your strongest suits when it comes to business?
I think leadership has been a huge focus for me over the years. Leadership's a pretty broad topic, but I've invested quite significantly over the years, and having mentors that run 8-figure, 9-figure companies. And my learning that I've been after in working with those types of mentors is to learn about the leadership component. Like, what does it actually take to run a 10 million or $100 million business? And so I've extrapolated a lot from those mentors and trainings and organizations that I've been a part of. And I would I would like to say that most of my team members think that I'm a great leader to them. Everybody's got a different way to lead. Um, but I really uh, look at our team members here in a very similar way that I do serving our clients. And my intent is always to help my team members. I might not like everything that they come with or that they bring to me, but my job at the end of the day is to help raise the energy of the team and help build them up and to help them be successful. And when I've done that over and over, it's continuously served the company well and our clients well, and ultimately the dogs that we're caring for well. So I would say leadership is one of the things that I have really focused on honing in on over the past 10 years in particular.
When did you realize how important it was to have mentorship?
About 10 years ago.
Oh. Okay.
You know, I knew that mentorship was important as I was learning from George and Al and, you know, my boss Ryan from Invisible Fence. You know, they acted as mentors to me really on the dog training side of things. And I think that I really just saw myself more as an apprentice, and I never really thought about them being mentors to me. They just were there, and I was learning from them. And then I hit a certain point in my business where I realized like I wasn't going to be able to keep growing my business unless I grew myself. And
Well
that
said.
came from a workshop that I was in. And I realized that I was the personal holdup to my business.
Mm.
And that's when I decided, like, I'm going to go and find somebody who I really think has done well. And I really like how they lead and what they've done with their business. I was like looking at websites and LinkedIn profiles of different companies, and I finally came across a gentleman who was up in New Jersey, and he had just started a coaching and mentorship company. And I said, "Hey, can I, you know, come learn from you?" And he's like, "Oh, you can come, and if you don't like it, I'll give you your money back." And I was like, "Well, that's a pretty good deal. I mean, I have to invest 10 grand to go to this workshop for a weekend,
Mm.
but you know, if he's giving me a money back guarantee, why not?" And the amount that I learned was incredible. And that's when I really kind of had this realization that, like, no, I need somebody who can be kind of on the path with me, who's been there and done that before. When you have a mentor, when you have a coach, you avoid a lot of pain
Yeah.
and a lot of mistakes. And I learned that pretty quickly, just hearing some of the stories. Somebody who had grown something much more significant than I have, and that's when I really kind of double clicked on that. And really, for the last 10 years, I have been either in a mastermind group or had a personal coach or been in some type of community to help ensure that I am constantly learning and moving forwards.
And just,
Because being an entrepreneur can be quite lonely, especially as you grow your business. There's very few people in your life that are going to understand the struggles that you're going through, and so having somebody who does understand that is really important, especially while you're living that entrepreneurial roller coaster that all of us are on. The highs are
mhm.
high, the lows can be quite low. Um, so
Yeah, it takes a lot of grit. And I think naturally, as dog trainers, we want to find a mentor who is another dog trainer. But it sounds like these coaches are, business people.
yeah, my first mentor, Mike, he ran a $30 million HVAC electric plumbing business. My next coach, Cameron, he was the COO who helped grow 1-800 Got Junk to from 2 million to 100 million in 6 years. Not in our industry at all.
Hmm.
And in fact, I would say that going outside of the industry has some real benefits to it. If you can find somebody within the industry who is in a place that is different than yourself, and what I mean by that is somebody who's accomplished what you want to eventually accomplish, um, hire them.
I
Don't
think you,
don't think about it. Just hire them.
yeah. I think when I last talked to you, you said you'll get there faster with less pain, something like that.
Absolutely. A lot
Yeah.
less friction, a lot less pain, and there's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah. And I think that the pain is good, the journey is good, and being an overnight success, probably not going to last. So there's no quick blueprint to being that multi-million dollar business owner. So some of the grind is good, But if you can skip a bit of that pain and get to, the bigger success a little faster, yeah, that's awesome.
I agree. I think that, we'll have our 20-year anniversary in October this year. And I will tell you, I mean, we've certainly experienced plenty of pain over the years, and that has taught us a lot. Um, but I will say that we would not be in the position that we are today without having had mentors and coaches that we've leaned on over the years. So it's hard to place a monetary value on that, really.
Yeah. Now, what was the trigger that pivoted you from just training into I'm going to offer other services? Was it you? Was it a mentor? A combination of things? Like what happened on that day that made you say I'm going to do this thing that's a little bit beyond training?
Oh my, there's a lot to this, so I'm gonna sum it up. You know, we had been training dogs purely for about 10 years. We were doing some board and trains out of my house. Um, so we were doing a little bit of boarding, but it was painful because, you know, dog trainers don't really want to just go and walk dogs and clean and that type of thing. And it was tough. Like I had a lot of people quit. A lot of people that didn't really want to stick around, and in hindsight, I don't blame them even a little bit. Um, but what basically happened was I had boarding running out of my house, um, and training for about 4 years or so, 5 years, and we ended up in a position where we were going to need to go get a special exception with our local zoning agency. And I realized that it would be a lot less expensive and a lot easier to partner with another business and eliminate that component because it was painful. I mean, you wake up on Christmas morning and you want to hang out and be with your family or you just want to chill. But getting up and dealing with the mess or whatever the case may be was pretty exhausting, and I was getting pretty burned out. And I realized, like, let me just take this off of my plate. So we partnered with a veterinary hospital that um, we stayed with for about 5 years. It was a massive facility, 400 enclosures, um, veterinary hospital, full service, except for they did not offer dog training. There's a lot of facilities struggle to offer dog training. A lot of pet care companies struggle to do it because it's a very skilled role. And most of them don't have the expertise to train those staff members. So we were in this position where we were able to bring them a lot of boarding revenue from our board and trains, and they could basically say that they offered training. And that actually came to bite me in the butt a few years later. They saw that we were being very successful in training dogs, and they decided that they wanted to start offering dog training as well while we were located in their building. And I said, it just doesn't make sense anymore for us to just offer dog training. I mean, we've been referring people to this other company, and we've also been referring to other companies throughout the area. And frequently we would hear back issues, challenges. I couldn't get in touch with them, whatever the case may be. And I was in this process of starting to focus on the business. And I came to the realization that it would be much better when we bring in a new client to be able to serve that client for a much longer period of time and to be able to provide them with everything that they need for their dog. And so we at that point decided we were going to move and we were going to open up a full service facility, which at the time was just going to be boarding and daycare. And so we moved 30 miles south of where we were at, which was a significant move, and started the full service facility. At that point, we rebranded the company So I can appreciate the struggle of changing business names. We went from Canine Obedience Unlimited, which was a mouthful, to Doggy Zone. And I remember telling my team of dog trainers that the name of our business was going to be Doggy Zone, and that our logo was going to go from this very serious dog training focused logo to this happy, fun, playful, goofy cartoon logo. And I was pretty sure everybody was going to leave, like dead serious. Like I thought based on their reaction that I was about to have no team. But I think that I had enough conviction about what I was doing that they said, well, let's see what happens. And so we moved forwards with it. And well, Jessica is still working with us here today. And George has been, working with us up until very recently. So it ended up working out.
Interesting. Yeah, and the rebranding, we just rebranded and our business is like blowing up. So I don't think it's the rebrand and they're like, oh my gosh, I just love the new name. I think it's just a coincidence, but maybe people like it better. Maybe it's prettier logo or something. Every time you move, it's so scary. Moving from your house, moving to the veterinary hospital, and then moving 30 miles away. But it sounds like it worked out for you. It's scary, but worked out.
It did, and one of the things that somebody said to me the other week was that business owners tend to get tired of their brand and their marketing very quickly, thinking that consumers must be tired of it and are not seeing it anymore. But our logo changed iterations probably 5 times in the first 10 years. So like every 2 years, our logo was changing a little bit. But our logo and our company name has not changed in the past 10 years. And we intend to refresh our brand over time, but we've built such a strong brand in our market that it wouldn't make sense to actually fully rebrand again. But it is a very worthwhile endeavor if it is done properly. And I will say properly because a lot of people build brands that they like and not that their consumer, that their
Yeah.
client is actually going to be attracted to and like. And I think that that's a massive mistake that I see trainers and people all throughout the pet industry make.
Yeah. For me, I like to train women. I like to train not aggressive dogs anymore. Like my skin's a little thinner and, it sets me back. I can't work if I get bit. So I think having a brand that speaks more to those, families, women, having a brand that speaks to them rather than serious and like very bro, that's going to attract the people that reach out to me. Um, your team. So your team is so amazing. I reached out to you on Facebook because we're Facebook friends, and you messaged back because I think it was a weekend. But then during the week, someone else was messaging me and they said that they were like your VA and they were handling getting this scheduled for the podcast and everything. I was like, wow, this is the most professional like podcast booking I've ever done. So your team definitely seems very involved and very supportive of you and the business. Could you share a little bit about how you've created such an amazing team and that you've got so much support from them?
Yeah. Well, first off, thank you for the kind words. Getting the right team is no easy task, and I don't care who you are, what your company is, what industry you're in. Recruiting is and people is probably one of the most challenging portions of the business, and I think this is the reason why a lot of people shy away from having team members. Is there's a real fear that they have about letting other people into their business who may effectively tarnish their brand, their reputation, or even much worse. And so, one of the things that we did very early on when we rebranded the company was establish core values for our company. Um, we originally started with 6 core values. The core values were meant to be a filter for every decision that we are going to make in the company, related to people, related to clients, related to operations, you name it. Core values are the filter for the company. And core values to me are things that are the values that you personally hold near and dear to your heart. What do you want to be known for? So, a couple of them, I won't go through all of them, but one of them was to deliver wow through service. I really like our clients to be wowed. I like them to go, that was incredible what you did with my dog. That's what I like. So I made that a core value. And we recruit, we hire, onboard, and train based on those core values. So you can bet that our hiring ads have core values written right into them. We ask people questions about those core values. And that makes it very easy for us when we're having an issue with a team member to be able to reflect back to those conversations and to those core values. And we don't hire people based on experience here. I mean, I actually tend to avoid it. We hire based on cultural fit. It's the people who have the same values as us. If you don't have the same values as your team members or vice versa, you will always be in conflict with your team. And so that has been really the key, if you will, to developing this team. And of course, we have turnover just like every other pet care business. But I can tell you, the people that really exude our core values are the ones that have been here for a long time. And that's really how we've built the team and built the culture here. And I think that when you put your team first and those core values first, everything else falls in line. And it's not pushing snow uphill. It's more like rolling a ball downhill. It's a lot easier. Things just pick up momentum when everybody has got shared values and is working together. The last piece that I would add to that long-winded answer is that being able to really give your team a very, very clear picture of the vision for your company is super important. Without that, it makes it very difficult to be able to keep people. Somebody once said to me that if the dreams of your team members can't be seen within the vision of your company, they'll leave. So one of the things that we have here is a 3-year vision for our company. We rewrite that every 3 years and we update it, change it to where we see the company 3 years from now. And that's something that we talk about in our quarterly all company meetings and manager retreats and all sorts of different meetings and interactions that we have. We refer back to that vision of where it is that we're going. And that is a really important piece to being able to actually inspire your team. Because I don't believe it's about motivation. I believe it's about inspiring them. I think motivation is internal and something that people should come to you with. It's our job as business owners, managers, team members to help inspire our team members to do more, to be better, to become the best version of themselves.
I'd love to pick your brain on team meetings in a minute, but I think first I want to talk about for you to think back a little bit and give some tips to dog trainers that maybe their first hire or their second hire. Like they're just baby growing. And I think a lot of us, we want to tell the new hire like about us and what we need and what we expect. But really, we do have to listen to what they're about, make sure they're the right fit. And a lot of us too, we want to just get somebody in because we're exhausted and burnout. I'm going to go have a nap. You got this. And then we just cut them loose. So maybe sharing a little bit for like a trainer that's just starting to scale and hire people about like that part of the journey. Cause you mentioned like it's no easy task. So like, I think that if you spend that time, like those first 35 days are critical, then you can start stepping back, maybe having your new trainee come on and read through or watch some videos that you've created to help prepare them. So you're not investing a ton of time in that first like week or so, and maybe they can wean themselves out if and you haven't like, oh, I just taught them like everything and now they're like, this is too much for me. So maybe sharing a little bit about that for a new trainer just ready to hire.
Yeah, so I think that hiring in many cases is an afterthought for people. I think you kind of alluded to that there. It's something that we go, oh my gosh, I can't keep up with this, or I can't do this anymore. Um, and my mindset today is very different because I constantly tell our team, our managers here, like you should be recruiting just as hard as you are looking for new clients to come into the business. I think that you should be, when you are doing marketing in general, whatever that marketing is, building your website, your brochures, whatever the case may be, that you should be recruiting in those pieces. You should share that you are looking to bring people onto the team. You'd be surprised how many people there are out there that would love a chance to come and work with you, but they didn't know that the opportunity even existed. They don't realize how much pressure you may be under. And so by just starting to incorporate that into your brochure, we're hiring, or come grow with us, something on your website for that is a really good starting point where you'll just find that there'll be people that will reach out to you. And it may not be a ton, but you don't need a ton of people. You get some people who will reach out to you and just express interest in wanting to come and work with you. And I think that that's a really good approach because hiring ads can be very expensive. And sometimes ineffective. I mean, we've found that to get one good hire, I mean, we frequently will go through 100 applications, and we have kind of a funnel, a conversion funnel of how that actually breaks down into one hire. But um, we've got to be constantly recruiting. And when we are, then it allows us to be in the right position at the right time and to have a bench of people that we can lean on when we need to and not be quite so reactionary. But the thing that I think I missed early on was documenting what I was already doing. And the reason why was I had a lot of freaking excuses of why I couldn't do it or why somebody else couldn't do it as good as me. And that is the biggest load. It is not true. In fact, there's people that can do it better than you, especially when you're juggling multiple priorities. So if you have that mindset, that is the first thing that you need to work on, is changing your mindset from nobody can do it as good as me to there's plenty of people that can do it as good as me. And when you do that, it really creates a shift for you. So documenting is something that should be able to be done without taking extra time out of your day. It's recording a phone call. It's doing a Loom screencast or having Zoom open and recording your session. whatever the case may be, there's a lot of different ways. We won't get into the logistics of that, but document everything that you do. The other mistake that I made was not really auditing my time. And so frequently I'll have a team member come to me and they'll say, I'm overwhelmed. I've got too many things to do. And my response to them is, let's do a time audit for the next week. And the time audit is really to write down every single thing that you do that takes you more than 5 minutes from the moment you start your day to the moment you end your day for 5 days straight, and then categorizing it and seeing where you're spending your time. And then you need to be able to categorize those things into certain buckets: administrative, training dogs, cleaning. And then I go a step beyond that of asking myself, what am I really good at? What do I really like doing? What am I not good at? And what do I hate doing? And having that makes it very clear on what do I need to get off of my plate. And I know how much time those take. And if I've documented myself doing these things, then I have almost everything that I need to build a playbook for this person. And then really from there, it's just as simple as determining what are the key performance indicators or the OKRs that I'm going to use to manage that person. Because at the end of the day, we need to be able to take these things and we need to be able to quantify them. We need to be able to see the data behind them. And when you have that, it allows you to actually hold people accountable without having to be there every step of the way. So I don't know if that answered your question or not, Leanne,
Yeah,
but
so much.
that's how I would think about it if I were to go back and start another business today. That's exactly what I would do.
What are some of the things you hate doing?
I hate doing paperwork.
Mm.
I hate doing bookkeeping. I just don't.
Yeah.
So I don't do bookkeeping. I have a bookkeeper. She does all of that. But even with her doing all of it, I still hate having to send this stuff to her. And so I've delegated even some of that. But, as a business owner, you can't completely take your hands out of it. You need to stay aware. The worst thing that you can do is delegate something and not follow up on it.
Yeah.
You'll find yourself in a world of pain. You might not find out until after the fact when it's really painful.
That can really
But
hurt.
it can really hurt. So yeah, I would say those are the anything where I have to sit still. You can
That
assume
makes sense. Yeah.
not a fan of.
I think having data, some of us don't have data because we just, write it on a calendar or something. Having maybe a project management board that you can use online, having a CRM or software for your business so that someone like you, the CEO, can inspect that data, listen to those phone calls, check which phone calls were answered and which weren't, and following up on how your staff is responding to leads to make sure it's in line with your brand. So maybe you could talk a little bit more about, inspecting what you expect. I've heard you say before.
Yeah, so we utilize a variety of different tools to do that. We record all of our phone calls coming into the business. It's an automatic thing. We regularly pull random calls. We listen to those phone calls from start to finish. We do a complete deep dive audit on those phone calls. We have a form that we fill out when we do that, where we are making sure that we are being consistently excellent on those phone calls. And we follow those up with weekly benchmark meetings with those team members where we review their performance. So those team members, while we record their phone calls, they use a call log to write down, just pen and paper, every single phone call that they take. And the results, was it a conversion? Was it not a conversion? And we evaluate that on a weekly basis. And we use those two things together to really help hold that team accountable and to help them to improve. Because the worst thing that you can do is expect that once you've trained somebody that their learning is done. I think that in terms of keeping team members in your company and having good employee retention, it really comes down to not how much you're paying them, but how much growth are they receiving from you. Growth isn't about money. It's about learning. It's about expansion. And when you meet with people on a regular basis and you do those types of coaching conversations with them, people feel seen, they feel appreciated. And I, for a long time, did not realize that. Now, it seems quite simple, but I was of the mindset of no news is good news. If there's no problem, we must be on track. And that resulted in a lot of pain with us losing people, because when you're not doing that, the assumption is that you don't care. And
Right.
that is actually the worst thing for a team member to feel, is that you don't care as the business owner. Because if you don't care about the work that they're doing, then you must not care about them. So, that's kind of what we do on the office side of things, when it comes to phones. But we use project management systems as well with our leadership team. So we use Trello. And that's a tool that we use to manage all of our tasks outside of the whirlwind of the day. We, of course, use daily checklists that are operations related. We have cleaning checklists. So we have a lot of ways to audit are the things being done every single day. But I would say that our probably most robust tracking and accountability is probably through what we do on the phone, because that's where everything starts and usually where everything ends. And if that is not done well, the rest of the team can't do their job well. So I think it's really important to make sure that everybody is being held accountable. And that's not doing a once a quarter performance review. Like, we don't do that. We used to. I would tell you not to, though. It's about daily and weekly check-ins. Be human with your people and help them. And that will increase the accountability naturally without you having to apply a lot of pressure.
Now, just wanted to ask one more question about new hires, and that's about checking their resume and calling their, the people that they've worked for in the past that they've listed. And a lot of us may not want to call our competitor that they used to work for, but I highly recommend it. I can tell you one story of, because I used to be like, I don't want to call, it's my competitor, and kind of awkward. One time a competitor called me and she said, I have a resume in front of me and I wanted to ask you about this person that worked for you. They've listed you as a reference. And I was like, what's the name? And they told me the name and I'm like, nope. She's like, enough said. And I'm like, don't you want to hear about why it's a no? And she's like, no, that's enough. Okay. And I'm her competitor. But I don't want to see that. These are the dogs that I have to think about, and, her business. So yeah, my initial response told her everything she needed to know. So definitely call the references.
Yeah, I think that, you got to get over yourself. If you want to grow your company, and if you really want to be a leader that people are attracted to, that's thinking small. Like, if you don't want to pick up the phone and call a competitor, I mean, I can tell you on multiple occasions, I've called competitors, and I don't I guess I just think about competition very differently. There's enough dogs out there for everybody. And yeah, I want to dominate my market and I want to be the number one. And yeah, guess what? That's great. But don't be toxic. That's not good for the industry. And when you can't pick up the phone and call a competitor, that's not good for the industry as a whole. And I believe that each one of us, especially that's a business owner or a manager in this industry, we have a responsibility to help to improve the industry. And to do that, that's building better relationships with your so-called competitors because you do different things and there's going to be opportunities to serve each other. And yeah, I know that there's some competitors out there that are not good people or maybe, have very unethical business practices. And I'm not telling you that you need to become best friends with them, but it's sure better to be friendly with your enemies, if you will, in my opinion, and to have a relationship where you can pick up a phone and ask a question. You'll learn a lot. I've had competitors reach out to me and say, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know this person just left my company on pretty bad terms, and I just wanted to let you know if they come looking for a job, you should probably, you know, think twice about hiring them." And I never asked for that. But because I keep an open line of communication, I'll never be nasty towards a competitor, even if they're nasty to me. I don't have time for that. I don't have energy for that. And I think that's the way to go about it.
Yeah, I think this day and age too, with maybe Facebook and socials, dog sports, I have a lot of other competitors that I'm friends with. So I might send them all my aggressive dogs and, they're amazing. Maybe they're really good at pack management. Okay, here you go. You can have these 3 sibling Malinois puppies. They're all yours. So yeah, making friends with your competitors. I like that, networking with them. It seems to be a bit easier this day and age. Now, I wanted to ask you about some of the cool things I know you do with your team, like team huddles, and you take like trips together. So maybe share a little bit about how important that is and some of the things you do.
Yeah, I think our daily huddle is probably one of the most important things that we do here. So we've been doing a daily huddle here. We're open 7 days a week. We run our huddles Monday through Friday, and my team would tell you that I've been leaning on them to maybe start doing that on the weekend. But a bulk of our business is really Monday through Friday. So a daily huddle for us is pulling everybody in the company together who is not serving a client or has a dog on a leash. And if they can put that dog off the leash and in an enclosure, whatever the case may be, then we expect them to be at huddle. Um, Daily huddle for us is kind of right smack in the middle of the day. We actually have 2 buildings here. And so we do a resort huddle and we do, a market huddle. Now, those are 7 minutes long. They are not extended and they are very focused. There's not a lot of fluff. Everybody stands. I don't allow people to lean up against the wall, sit down, do not get comfortable. And I expect everybody to participate in the huddle. We start every huddle off with sharing wins. So I'll go through and, what's a win? What's a success that you've had so far today? And that can be very challenging for people at times. And, the reality is that our brains were designed a very long time ago to protect us and to basically keep us from being eaten by dinosaurs. So naturally, there's a side of us that sees the bad and doesn't see the good. We're worried and concerned about all of the things. And so starting huddles off with wins is probably the most important thing. It's shifting the focus, it's shifting the energy of the team. As I said earlier, raising the energy of your team is one of the most important things you can do as a business owner. And so we start off and we go through everybody in the circle. If they don't have a win, that's okay. Sometimes we don't have a win, but I want you to shout out another team member who you've been impressed by. Share with us, what was something that you saw somebody else do that you thought was great? Maybe they were handling a difficult dog in a great way, or maybe you saw them have a phenomenal interaction with a client, or you just really like how they taught you how to do something. Whatever the case may be, our hires on their first day at Huddle are expected to share a win or a shout out. And so we always start off with that, and that's very strategic. And from there, we'll go into a department review. If you don't have multiple departments, then it's just what are the projects that are being worked on right now. That could be what dogs do you have in house. That could be what system are we writing. What new initiative did we just start? And somebody gives an update on those things. And then from there, what we do is we go into roadblocks. What's broken? What needs to be fixed? What do we need to write a system for? Or, something along those lines. And that's the opportunity for people to share what's not going well. We don't solve those things in Huddle. We then decide right then and there who wants to take ownership over fixing that. And somebody can raise their hand and say, hey, I'll write the system for that, or hey, I'll call Miss Jones. And then from there, we go into our chant, and we have something very simple like 1, 2, 3, Team Doggy Zone Relentless, or Team Doggy Zone Unstoppable, and we kind of have a theme that will rotate through each quarter, and that's kind of our mantra. And so we end those on a very high energy note. And then the other thing that we do that's unique, we do manager retreats. So we just actually did one a couple weeks ago. We took our managers and got a lake house for a couple of days, and we just spent a couple days being humans with each other. Of course, we talked about work and strategizing and all that kind of stuff, but just break bread together, be human, because I think one of the things that people forget about is that everybody is struggling with something in their life, whether it's a relationship or a financial issue or drugs or sexuality or alcohol or whatever it is. All of us have something that we're struggling with. And it is really important to have time to be human with your team and not constantly just demand what's next. So those are probably two of the things that really stand out to me that you'd asked about. And we do a lot of other meetings here, but I'll spare you guys the detail of all that.
Do you guys on your retreats, do you get new ideas?
We absolutely, we have a flood of new ideas, and
I bet.
that is rarely the issue. The issue is being able to prioritize those ideas that come up and be able to decide what it is that we're actually going to execute on.
Yeah.
I remember leaving a manager's retreat where we had close to 200 project ideas. And this was split across 6 people. And I had this realization about a day or two later. I'm going to get rid of all of this. And so I told all of them, I said, I want you to pick 2 things that you're going to focus on. And I just went in and I deleted them all. They could only keep 2. And when I told them that they were all deleted, they were all a bit shocked at first because, oh my gosh, we came up with all these great ideas and all of these plans. But what actually happened was there was a big sigh of relief from the team, because it's usually not about having enough ideas. It's about your ability to actually execute on them. So that's
Very
a big
good
learning
point.
for me personally.
Yeah, I think some of us are a bit more creative visionaries, and we need to focus. So that is such great advice. Is there anything else that you'd like to share today? Because we're about at the end of the hour.
No, I've loved being on and sharing. I guess for any of you that might have questions for me. I don't have anything to sell right now. I'm not running any programs for professionals, but if I can be of any service to you, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm not easy to get a hold of by phone, but you can certainly find me on Instagram or Facebook and send me a message. And I tend to be probably more giving than I should be sometimes. But I'm happy to usually jump on a call with you and help you strategize and see if I can help you out with something that you might be struggling on or a decision that you need to make. And so feel free to do so. And that's open to everybody to just reach out if you have questions.
Yeah, somebody that's maybe thinking of growing, or you've already grown a certain amount, you want to get to the next level. Andrew would be such a great resource. I'm thinking maybe we could do like a webinar with business owners so they can just talk directly with you and get advice from you on running and being a leader. Because like you said, that's a strong suit of yours. And share a little bit about how people can reach you. You mentioned like Facebook, Instagram. It's doggyzone.com.
Yeah, so doggy is DOGI
Yep.
zone, ZONE.com. And you can certainly check out our website there. We didn't feel like spending $10,000 on the domain name. And, quite frankly, it's a more franchisable name. So we decided to keep it simple there. But yeah, if you want to reach out to me on social media, on Instagram, it's just Andrew W. Fraser. I believe it's the same thing on Facebook as well.
Perfect. All right, Andrew, thank you so much for your amazing share today. I hope that it inspires people, and I would love to do a private webinar maybe for owners. There's just so much you have to offer. So, I'd really appreciate if we could set something up.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been a real pleasure, and look forward to doing more with you.
Awesome. Well, thanks, everybody. Again, thank you, Andrew. I'm Leanne Shinton from Automation Dogs /Pet Biz Experts, and thanks for listening.